Welcome to the Abundance Effect, where we empower ambitious women with practical tools to live their most rich and fulfilling life in business and beyond. I'm your host, Larisa Makuch. Let's get started. Have you ever had one of those weeks where nothing is technically wrong, but everything feels off? You're getting things done, you're showing up, you're checking the boxes, but it is not smooth. Things might feel disjointed. They might be a little forced, like you're constantly switching gears and you're just trying to catch up on your own life. You go from one thing to the next without any real flow. And by the end of the day, or even the end of the week, you're not necessarily exhausted, but you're unsettled. So you might be asking yourself, why did that feel harder than it needed to be? If you've been feeling like that lately, this episode is for you. Because today we are not talking about doing more, but we are talking about something that most people don't even realize they're missing: rhythm. And this is about how to build a weekly rhythm that actually supports your life and what turns effort into flow. So that feeling, that off feeling, that slightly disjointed, not quite in sync experience, it's not random. And it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's usually because there is no underlying rhythm holding your life together. You're moving, you're doing, you're responding, but nothing is actually anchoring how your days and weeks flow. And so everything requires effort. Everything requires readjusting. Everything requires you to figure it out again and again and again and again and again. And over time, that creates friction. You get tired. Now here's where it's interesting, because when you zoom out, take the 80,000 foot view and look at how your life actually works, everything is operating in rhythm. Your heartbeat, your breath, your sleep cycles. In nature, we have day and night. We have the 4 seasons. We have expansion and contraction. There's a natural intelligence to rhythm. And there's actually a universal law called the law of rhythm. Okay, this is behind all of this that I'm talking about. Everything moves in cycles. Nothing is meant to operate at full capacity all the time. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Nothing is meant to operate at full capacity all the time. There's a time to push. There's a time to pull back. There's a time to create. There's a time to integrate. But most high-achieving women, they try to live in one mode. Go, 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 go. Produce, 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 produce. And when your life is not aligned with rhythm, it does not flow. It feels forced. It feels disconnected. It feels heavier, like so much heavier than it needs to be. So the issue isn't that you need to do more. It's that your life is not really moving in a way that actually supports you. And so here's the real problem. This is something I see over and over again. It's not that women aren't capable, not that they don't know what to do, but it's that they don't have a rhythm. They have busy schedules, reactive days, random effort. And so what happens? Monday, you start strong. You're like, yes, ready for the week. Tuesday, you have a decent day. Wednesday, you're a bit scattered. Thursday, you're going, oh, crap, I got to catch up. Friday, you are just exhausted and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for the weekend. And nothing feels complete. You don't need a better plan. You need something that holds you. And that's exactly what rhythm does. So let's clear something up, because this is where people resist. People hear the word structure or rhythm and they think, restriction, control, I'm going to be boxed in. I used to think that way too. And I rejected structure for so many years because I thought it would trap me. But the truth is, structure creates freedom. I did a whole previous episode about structure for flow. Okay, structure for flow. So if you want to tune into that, we'll make sure to link it in the show notes. But here's why structure creates freedom. When you have a rhythm, you stop redeciding everything. You reduce decision fatigue and your brain knows what fits where. This is pretty simple sounding, However, neuroscience also backs this. People have done research on this. People build careers on studying stuff like this. So studies on decision fatigue, they've actually shown that the more decisions you make throughout the day, the worse your execution becomes. Okay, so the more decisions you make throughout the day, the worse your execution becomes. So when everything is up for negotiation, when everything requires a decision, your energy is set up to get drained before you even start. However, when there's a rhythm and things are already set, your brain relaxes, your energy stabilizes, your execution improves. Why? Because it's built and it's set up to do that. Structure doesn't trap you. It actually frees you from that constant need to make decisions over and over and over and over and over again. I promise you, your family's going to keep asking you what's for dinner. I promise you, other people are going to keep coming at you with decisions you need to make. However, the more of those decisions you can make in advance, the easier, the more straightforward your life will be. This is why rhythm is so important. In our abundance focus system, we have quarterly rhythms, we have monthly rhythms, we have weekly rhythms, daily rhythms. We have so many rhythms we look at. Today, I want to look at the weekly rhythm. Okay. So what does this actually look like? It's not about perfection. It's not about a rigid schedule, but it's about flow. And here's where to start. You want to look at your week ahead and really look at what actually matters. What are you committed to? Where is your energy truly needed? So you've got to pay attention to what's coming up. In your schedule, you want to create some general patterns. If there are things that happen repeatedly or that are in the same category a little, let's say some meetings or creative work or certain types of errands, you want to cluster those and put them together, cluster these similar things. So let's say kid has an activity close to grocery store, do your grocery shopping while you're in the area. Have 3 types of meetings with certain clients, do all those meetings in one day or in one block. So your brain is thinking in that. I like to block off time and cluster my podcast episodes because it takes me a while to get the first one done, but once I get going, I go, 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 go. I love doing a big batch of podcast episodes. And it feels good to build that momentum and keep my mind focused on the same things. Next, you want to use anchors because certain things happen regularly. Maybe planning time, thinking time, movement, connection, certain types of meetings. You want to do the same things at the same times as often as possible so that you're not jumping around with your mind, with your energy. Okay. So you want to have recurring time blocks for these things that happen regularly in your calendar. This is not complicated, but for me, I go see my trainer Mondays at 2:30. I have that in my calendar every single week. I work out on my own at 4:30, 4:45 on Wednesdays and Fridays. I have that in my calendar. Those things are happening. I don't think about what I need to do. I just have to follow through on them. Okay. So they're anchored in my calendar already. We have a team meeting every Monday. We make sure that that is in the calendar as a recurring time block. I have certain meetings with certain clients that happen on a regular basis. They're all set in advance. Okay. And to the best of my ability, I cluster things and theme them together. So next point is theme your days. Theme your days if and where you can. Maybe Monday could be a planning day. Tuesday can be an execution day. Maybe Wednesday's a creative day. Friday is a review day. It doesn't have to be super rigid, but when you can keep your mind in one zone or in one theme, it takes so much pressure off. If you're a business owner, you might have your CEO planning day. You might have a team day where you have team meetings and work with your staff. You might have a sales day. You might have a marketing day. You might have an admin day or a catch-up day. So this is where you can start theming your days, and it will be so much easier to make sure you get the right things done at the right time. So look at the things that are recurring in your life and block those in where possible. And this is exactly why I created something new, because having a rhythm is one thing, but having a place where you actually come back to it every single week, that's different. It's called Momentum Lab, and this is where we take everything we're talking about here, focus, rhythm, reset, execution, and we actually live it each and every week. Not more learning, but application, structure, and support. We've just opened this up for founding members, which means you're coming in at the ground level and stepping into a level of consistency most people never build. So if you've been craving structure without feeling boxed in, support without losing your independence, momentum that actually lasts, this is for you. You can check it out through the link in the show notes. You also want to work with a natural rhythm, with your natural rhythm. I love waking up early in the morning, but in the morning, the best kind of work for me to do is creative work. It's writing, it's thinking, it's that deep thinking, it's the connecting of the dots. In the afternoon, I love doing things like execution. I don't think exceptionally well with big concepts in the afternoon. It takes me a long time to get going. But things like recording the podcast, it's energizing, it's action-oriented. Connecting with certain people, holding meetings, those make a difference to me. I love doing them in the afternoon. And so I work with my natural rhythms and adjust my work accordingly. Okay. So really important to start paying attention. How are you going to know what your natural rhythm is? Pay attention. Okay. Pay attention. And I think the last key is build in flexibility. Rhythm is not rigid. You can absolutely move things around. Adjust them, play with them, keep working with it until it works for you, but know that there's still a structure underneath. Now, here's what most people don't consider. Rhythm is only as strong as the support around it. Now, at one point, I thought I had to do everything. I had to do all my working, all my cooking, all my life, everything for my business, everything in my household. And guess what happened? I didn't eat properly. I got depleted. Things slipped. I got tired. And it wasn't because I wasn't capable, but I didn't have the support. I had to really look at what support do I actually need at this stage of my life? Where do I want to be spending my time? And where do I want help and assistance? So I realized at one point, I'm like, I love working. I don't want to spend 6 hours on a Sunday cleaning my house. So we hired someone to start cleaning and doing our laundry. So we've had someone helping us in the house for years. Now we have someone do cooking, cleaning, and laundry. So we have help with cooking as well. I realized I like cooking, but I just don't have time. We have so many activities with our son. And even though I love being a domestic diva sometimes, I just don't have the capacity because I only have so much time. And I'd rather spend my time with my child than doing all the work around the house. Maybe that might look like childcare. I love my child. And when we put him in childcare, he found friends that he loves and he has his time over there. And then we had our time at home. I was able to work. I was able to do things that fueled my soul. He now goes to school, but at first I felt guilty putting him in daycare. Best decision of my life because it allowed me to have the flexibility to do things that mattered to me outside of being just a mother. Okay. Some people can do it. I couldn't. So you have to follow what's important to you. Other kinds of support might look like coaching. I was just on a mastermind call last week, and one of my coaches, she's like, oh my God, how do people not invest in coaching all the time? She's like, I always have 3 coaches, one for business, one for mindset, and one for, I can't remember what else she said. But I personally, I have an accountability coach. I have a marketing coach. I have a business coach. I have a writing partner. I'm in mastermind group. These things are support I need so I can get different perspectives and also plug into other communities. Rhythm is not just your calendar. Calendar is a huge part of rhythm, but it's also your environment, your support, and your entire ecosystem. Your rhythm is only as strong as what's actually holding it up. And even when you build rhythm, right? I see a lot of people, they go build a rhythm and then they struggle. Why? Because life happens. You're a human being. You're a human being. energy shifts, things come up, emotions fluctuate, and then you might fall out of rhythm. So I want you to realize you don't just need a rhythm, you actually need a way to come back to it every single week. You have a weekly rhythm. Do you have a place to check in with that rhythm without guilt, without overthinking, without starting from scratch? This is exactly where things start to change. When you don't just say you're going to do something, but you do it and you follow through and you have a system, like a home base to come back to, whether it's a mastermind group, whether it's a coach, whether it's a specific time block where you deliberately check in on this, but you've got to regroup because life will happen and you will have to readjust. An airplane does not travel perfectly straight to its destination. It goes a little bit in a direction and it goes, oops, course correct, travels, oops, course correct. And it course corrects most of the time. An airplane is traveling in the direction of its destination the entire time, but it's never truly on course. It's off course 95% of the time or more. But what it does is it keeps recalibrating, and that's exactly what you need to do. And if you do it every week, if you make your micro adjustments, it's not going to be a big overhaul when life comes up. It's going to be much easier and much more natural to do. If your life is feeling way harder than it should right now, it's not because you're doing everything wrong. It's because you're not supporting how you're doing it. Things aren't supporting how you're doing it. You need a rhythm. You need to work with it and you need to let it support you. So I want you to build that rhythm, work with it, let it support you, and watch and see how things truly do start to move differently. Take a breath. Go look at what your week actually looks like, sounds like, feels like right now. Make your decisions, make your choices, and create a week that supports you, not that drains you. Go out, create some magic, and I'll see you again in another episode of The Abundance Effect next week.